All right. How did you guys do last week, like food prep wise? Any problems, anything that you struggled with? Any like newfound strengths that you now have that you're like, wow, like that wasn't so hard, or like I found that, creating meals was much easier when I had a plan. Like anybody?
I found that I do better planning for sure, like writing out like what I'm going to do every week. I've been doing that now for a while. So this challenge like worked out pretty well. But what I did do differently this week is I did get stuff to like meal prep some freezer meals so that like since my work schedule can be kind of unpredictable and to just take an extra stress off having to plan for a lunch the next day around like what my dinner is going to be. I just put some simple like carb protein freezer meals like with ground turkey and rice and that sort of thing to be able to just grab on those days that I'm going to be out in the field or at the office. So I haven't eaten them yet, but I will definitely.
They're there.
Yeah.
That's good.
And they're in the freezer. And then, I always have fruit and veggies on hand and stuff to grab to supplement it. So that was my meal planning for the week.
Yay. Good. So that worked out well. And as far as like workouts are concerned, is everybody continuing to kind of keep up with the workouts planned, executed as intended? Yeah, cool. Any struggles with workouts? Renee, I know 4 days later, not being able to walk after 1,000 step-ups, that's totally expected.
Oh, well, yeah. So that kind of threw a curveball in the week, but I figure Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, if I do CrossFit those 4 days in a row, that'll kind of make up for what I've missed the last 2 days. So
I think it's okay to miss those last 2 days to recover. I think that there are higher levels of inflammation and muscle breakdown from, that's a lot of stepping.
Yeah, you know what? It was a comparable feeling. Now, when I ran rim to rim in the Grand Canyon, I was in a lot better shape, but the feeling afterwards was the same.
Oh, like you got hit by a truck.
Yeah, when you run rim to rim in the Grand Canyon, when you climb out, it's like 7 miles of stairs. That's what it feels like. And so that's kind of how it felt like. And so I knew after I was done, I'm going to need a couple days to recover. This one.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. Okay.
Yikes. Well, you did it.
I did it. And it gives me a good bar to set at for the next time I do it again. So,
Yep. Or a class to avoid next time you see it.
I can't do chest.
Yep. Oops. Perfect. Let's see. Any questions, like just general questions on anything that you guys had before I kind of talk about this week's challenge? Anything that's come up? No? Okay. So this weekend, this Sunday, I don't know if you guys have seen, but my boyfriend, he does tapping and Reiki and performance coaching. So he will be doing a Zoom with me on Sunday. So a couple really awesome things. So we've been doing a lot more research in regards to kind of other scientific things that back tapping. And one of the things that we've found, or that he's found, I've been listening, he's been finding the stuff. But basically, like tapping has been used to help military people with PTSD. And it's actually been shown to cause significant decreases in PTSD, like to the point that like they don't need to be classified under disability because it has that kind of benefit. It's also said that it can decrease cortisol production by 25 to 50%. So he's going to be going over like everything in regards to tapping. We're going to talk about things in regards to like the holidays and kind of the stressors associated with like holiday meals. Like next week is Thanksgiving. So we'll kind of be touching on those things and, just he's going to explain what it is because I can kind of explain like my experience with doing it with him. But he's obviously the expert at it. But that will be Sunday at 4 p.m. I probably have or will add you guys to the Zoom link so that you can have that. Otherwise, it will come in emails. So keep an eye out for those emails coming up. So anyways, as far as, just to kind of touch on the things that we're doing over these last 8 weeks, it's really about kind of setting the foundation for success. So, when it comes to even understanding like hormonal concerns, a lot of it stems from lifestyle nutrition things. So, the concerns that we see are the result of actions in our lives. So if we can just kind of start to build healthy actions on a daily basis, those healthy habits, then we may inevitably actually correct hormonal things that are going on, because they obviously stem from somewhere. Yes, there are things that it's like, okay, like you're experiencing this, your estrogen is high or it's low, or your progesterone is high or it's low. But what it comes down to is what caused your body to adapt in that fashion in the first place. So basically just kind of getting you in a place where, you're getting enough food, you're prioritizing nutrients, you're prioritizing like a healthy lifestyle, like food prep, working out. Like this week, it's sleeping. So that is a very important part of stabilizing hormones or balancing hormones. When you undersleep or when you don't get a good night's sleep, we can see a dysregulation in our hunger satiety hormones. So leptin and ghrelin. So basically like ghrelin, which is responsible for causing you to be hungry, will increase, and leptin, causing you to be satisfied or kind of that hunger shut off, will decrease. So now you have all the hunger and nothing telling you that you're not hungry. So that's why, you'll see an increased hunger response on days that you don't get good sleep. Chronically living in a, let me refer to my list, because it was a long list of things that can occur from chronically living in a sleep deficit. So it can increase cravings, it can increase inflammation, it can impair your immune system, disrupt digestion and gut health, impair hormonal health, and increase intolerance to carbs, so causing an increased insulin resistance. So, not getting a good night's sleep, you can see an increased weight on the scale because your body doesn't have the opportunity to decrease inflammation. It doesn't have the opportunity to fully detox overnight. We can see an increase in insulin resistance. So that means that you are less tolerant to carbs. So sleeping is so important. So now that we know it's important, what can we do if we're not getting good sleep? Because the thing is, like, not getting good sleep could be our body telling us something. So it could be that, like, before hormones start to adapt, maybe we see sleep disruptions starting to occur first. So, as far as like sleep is concerned, like ideally, I'd love you guys to get like 7 to 9 hours. If you're not getting that much, like me asking you to get that much is asking for a lot. So I would say start small. Start by going to bed 15 minutes early. That's an extra, 2.5 hours, almost 2 hours a week that you're getting extra sleep, or even just 20 minutes, just start kind of adding, 5 minutes, like go to sleep 5 minutes earlier, but just kind of start to go to bed earlier when you wake up. So things that can help support sleep. So making sure that you're supporting circadian rhythm. So when you get up in the morning, get outside and look at the sky, like see some natural daylight. I know it's kind of dark in the morning. So sometimes that's hard depending on where you live. But get a happy light, one of those just kind of artificial like daylight. We have one that's maybe the size of an iPad that we just kind of turn on in the corner, and it's just kind of in the peripheral. So basically helping to trigger your body to know, like, this is when daytime or this is when morning needs to occur. So it starts to create that cortisol awakening response naturally during that time that you're training your body to wake up. Get outside and get walks throughout the day. So the body kind of starts to recognize where the sun is in the sky. Go out towards the evening. So the body recognizes that the sun is lower in the sky. So it starts to naturally get more tired. So by the end of the day, your body is like, okay, like had this light in the morning. Now it's dark. Now it's time to sleep. Honor your need to be sleepy. Like, don't try and fight it. Don't be like, oh my God, it's too early to go to bed. I do that sometimes. I'm like, is it socially acceptable to go to bed at like 7? I mean, I'm tired. I do it. I don't care if I'm tired and I need to go to bed at 7, like just do it. So honor your sleep response. And if you are tired, like go to bed. Don't feel like you need to adhere to some sort of like social acceptance of going to bed at 9, 10, 11, whatever. As far as like your room is concerned, make sure your room is dark and cool. So I think they say ideal sleeping temperature is about 65 degrees. I will actually crack the window open. Like sometimes it gets really cold, but get those blankets, like snuggle up. It's that time of year. Get more. So as I said, get more vitamin D. So get outside, get walks. As we move into the cooler months or the darker months, even supplementing with vitamin D can help support this process. Making sure you're eating enough calories. So being in too much of a caloric deficit can actually cause poor sleep quality. Minimize caffeine. So caffeine actually has an 8-hour half-life. So if you are consuming caffeine in the afternoon, you can see residual effects of it. If you consume it at noon, you'll probably still have some of it in your system by 8 p.m. So minimize caffeine. I know personally, like when I get rid of caffeine altogether, I sleep so much better. Electronics. So if you have an iPhone, iPhone has like an alarm setting and it'll actually dim your screen, and like you have to actively like open it up to get any sort of notifications. So set that to go off, and when it's there, like don't reopen it. Like just wind down and start to go to bed. Like whatever comes in can be there tomorrow morning. Let's see. Did I get all my things? Eat a higher carb meal at the end of the day. So for those of you with macros, like save enough carbs to have probably like 20 to 40 grams would be my recommendation in the evening. So what carbs are going to do is they're going to bring your insulin up, which is going to bring your cortisol down. So bringing cortisol down will allow for melatonin to bind. If your cortisol is too high, it interferes with melatonin being able to bind. So that's one of the things where like caffeine kind of comes in. So if caffeine causes a cortisol response, so if cortisol is high at the end of the day and you're tired but wired because that caffeine has, spiked your cortisol, so therefore your melatonin can't bind, it's going to be difficult to fall asleep. So that's one of the things in regards to caffeine to kind of take note of and be mindful of. Like if you are struggling with sleep, try cutting back on the caffeine. Try having more carbs with that last meal of the day. Make sure that your room is dark, like blackout curtains or even an eye mask. Cool temperatures. Now, as far as the cues, so when we talk about habits, we want to make it obvious. So, setting that alarm that naturally dims our phone. So we have to actively open it to view any sort of notifications. So that's going to be one way where you just kind of make it obvious, where it's just like, hey, guess what? I don't get to play on my phone anymore. Make it attractive. So maybe get some new sheets or a new comforter or some comfy pajamas that, it's like, okay, I can't wait to get into bed, or I can't wait to get into my pajamas. Like make it attractive, make it easy. So as far as like supplementations, magnesium is really good. I mean, melatonin is good too, but we want to naturally produce that in our body. Magnesium is helpful for supporting sleep quality. Vitamin C also helps with cortisol management. So taking magnesium and vitamin C before bed can help to support better sleep quality. Make it easy. So when it comes to supplements, like set your supplements, set your eye mask out, like don't put them in drawers, put them on top of the countertop, put them next to, supplement wise, put them next to like a glass, put them next to your toothbrush, like make it easy, put it right there and make it obvious. And then as far as like making it satisfying, you awake, rested, and ready to crush the day. So just kind of that positive, or that basically like it feels good, so keep doing it. Let's see. Any questions on, or any personal struggles in regards to sleep? Any questions on anything at all?
I have a quick question, Jen. So, and so I take prescription drugs that help me sleep at night. Is sleep is sleep? Does your body look at it the same way or no?
So it would depend on what your sleep cycles look like. So when we sleep, we want to have REM sleep as well as deep sleep. So, it would be interesting to know if your body is cycling through all the stages of sleep. That would be how I would kind of want to know, like, is sleep.
My Aura, my ring tracks that. Restfulness is always really bad. Like I'm really I must toss and turn, and I get up a few times at night, but I just wondered, as I start to come off of those and kind of use more of the natural stuff we've talked about, will I feel better?
You should, in theory.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
How much deep sleep versus REM sleep does the ring say that you're currently getting?
Hold, please.
Okay. Stand by.
Okay, so like last night it says an hour 30 of deep
Okay.
and 2 hours of REM.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, and it says I was awake for an hour and a half.
Do you remember being awake for that hour and a half?
I remember getting up to go pee and then going
Okay.
back to bed, but I don't remember being awake. But like my restfulness and my efficiency on the aura are always pretty poor. And then the other weird thing is like I'll have high spikes in my heart rate
overnight, but it doesn't kind of continue downward and kind of hit a low point.
It starts low. I fall asleep pretty fast. I think because of those drugs, like I'll fall asleep pretty fast. Like my lowest was 57, and then within an hour it spiked up to 80.
Oh, wow.
It's weird. It's interesting.
Interesting.
We'll have to maybe talk offline about that some other time. But
Yeah.
it does. It spikes pretty high.
Okay.
Up to like 80. It was 83 last night. And then, yeah, so it starts low and goes high, and then it calms down, but it never drops really low again.
Interesting. Yeah. Maybe we'll talk about that in one of our calls.
Yeah. And the HRV, sometime I'd love for you to explain that a little bit more, because I always thought having a low HRV was really good. Apparently that's not good.
You want higher. Yes.
I have a really low one. Yeah.
Yeah. You want it to be higher because that shows that your body is more recovered.
Yeah. Okay. So it'll just be interesting with the sleep as I start to, I don't mind to digress any, but as I start to, I just wondered, does your body look at sleep the same way no matter what you're doing? Or is it kind of masked because of certain drugs that you could?
I am definitely curious. Like especially with that big heart rate jump.
Yeah.
Because it's not like you would expect if you were getting like super deep sleep and good REM, that you would see a continual like drop off and you would reach your lowest point. But that's, you reach your lowest point and then it spikes up again. So
Yeah, and every night like that. Maybe I'll just forward you like one of the data things.
okay, perfect. Yeah, because it does sound like some sort of cortisol response that is causing it to spike, but the question becomes why would that occur?
Yeah,
But you know what? I mean, as we start to get your calories up, like that could be a calorie related thing. So, you know, we'll just kind of watch it.
Okay.
As far as like other things to consider in regards to like REM sleep versus deep sleep. So they say deep sleep is achieved in a cooler environment and REM sleep is achieved at a neutral environment. So, you know, as far as like when you are working to fall asleep, like making sure that your room is nice and cool so that you can get into that deep sleep. Generally, like for myself, I see a lot more deep sleep in my first part of my night. And then I think I grab another blanket. So maybe I get to that like neutral temperature. So I see a lot more REM sleep towards the second half of my night. So, I mean, those would be a couple things to maybe, if you are struggling to have dreams or struggling to get deep sleep, play with temperature in your room and see if, you know, you can like cuddle up or have like a blanket to pull over at a second point during the night.
Okay. Yeah, I think if I make it any cooler, my husband might kick me out.
It's hard when there's like two people that you have to take into account. It's like, wait, no, but I want it cold.
Yeah, I'm probably pretty close to menopause, and so
you're like, I'm hot, so I need it cold in here.
Yeah, 62. We're good. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Well, I'll start paying attention to that a little bit more.
Okay. And I would say also look at when it, like if it occurs every night or is it like after super hard workouts. Like I know for myself, after my day of competition, I went from like last week having 80-90% readiness to a 65 the day after I did all the working out.
Okay.
So, you know, it could be your body like recovering, but it could be like recovery, like if you're not getting enough food to support recovery, then you might see more cortisol spikes. So that could be one of the reasons why you're seeing that overnight. And then like the medication is just kind of keeping you asleep so you don't actually like wake up because of it. Because that is a pretty significant increase in heart rate overnight to like not wake up because of.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. I'll start watching it and paying attention to what I'm doing that day versus what my heart rate's doing.
Okay. Perfect. Let's see. Does anybody else have any questions on anything like previous week's challenges, like this Sunday Zoom, this week's sleep challenge? Any general questions?
I do have a question about how much REM and deep sleep would you or is recommended to kind of achieve?
I think that they
Like, what to work
recommend
for.
like a 20% range of your total night's sleep.
Cool, thanks.
Anybody else? Any questions? Everybody is excited to implement all these sleep things and get all the good sleep. I'm going to see everyone on Sunday.
I wish.
Well,
the other night, oh my gosh, it was so bad. I was looking through here. I was like, what night was that? I don't know if you can see that. Oh, it's so bright. Oh man.
what happened?
It was so bad. I had 21 minutes of REM sleep. Yeah, I could not function.
You probably woke up feeling very tired.
Yes.
Yeah.
Between kids and dog, like waking me up all night. It was horrible.
You're like, just let me sleep.
I need some sleep, guys. Just let me sleep. And then when I wake up at like 2-ish, it's hard for me to go back to sleep. So
I think like food wise, we might want to increase your food on that, because if you're waking up at 2 and it's not like kid dog related, it could be just not consuming enough food.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Good idea.
Mhm. Let's see. Anything else this evening, guys? Anything that you have questions on whatsoever? No? Everybody's good? Cool. All right. Well, if everybody.
I had a question, sorry.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you have any recommendations for night sweats? Because I get those very often, like probably more than half the week.
Do you see them more in the first part of your cycle or the second half? Or just
Well,
all the time?
I don't know where the halves are, but it's pretty consistent throughout the time.
Okay. So night sweats could be associated with low levels of estrogen. So making sure to like support your hormones. Calcium deglucarate is a supplement that helps support estrogen balancing. So that might be a supplement to consider adding in and seeing if that kind of helps with that. Yeah. Anybody else? Any other questions, comments, concerns, jokes, anything? No? All right. Well, cool. Well, I look forward to hopefully seeing most of you guys or all of you guys on Sunday. And if not, I'll see you next Tuesday. Okay. Have a good night.
Thanks.
Bye. Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.